Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Drado from ProsperityLifeHacks.com. I don't know if you guys noticed, my current website is down at the moment, so you cannot you can't have any access to my blogs or anything of that nature. If I want to actually renew everything again or just recover everything again, I would have to pay $150 to recover everything again. That's why right now it's currently down because I don't know what happened. I missed a payment or I didn't have enough money in the account for like a brief point, and then everything got shut down. So in order to get everything back, I have to pay $150 and get the hosting again. So right now the website is down until I can take care of all that. So today's topic is, how do people make decisions? I remember a long time ago when I was younger, to me it felt strange that people kind of always acted in a certain way. It's like they always needed time to make a decision. And so what I did was I was like, okay, I'm seeing that they need too much time, so I kind of did the opposite of that, which made me kind of at times impulsive because I made an observation that people were always taking their time to make decisions and we need to do things right now and stuff like that. I wasn't always like this. Like different times I will be different ways, but that was like one mindset at one kind of time period. And then I got older, and then I realized people need time to make decisions, and that is a very acceptable thing to do. If someone ever asks you something you don't know, you can simply just say, you know what, let me get back to you on that, I don't really know, or something to that effect. And this is simply because in order to make a sound decision, meaning a decision that is very well educated, you need research, you need social proof, you need to ask opinions, you need to collect the data, you need to do your research, essentially. Anytime that we try to make a decision that is not based on some sort of social proof or some sort of like educated research or reading a book or anything like that, our decisions are going to be kind of not of high quality, and chances are they're going to be indecisive, hesitant, or even doubtful. However, when we do our research first, when we are very educated about certain things before we jump into a decision, we're able to make these choices a lot quicker and a lot faster. So why is this important? It's important particularly in sales, in dating, in persuasion, and influence. Politicians know all about this. Marketers know all about this stuff, or at least they know a lot of it. Simply for the fact that anytime you want someone to do something, to change a mindset, to change a behavior, you have to understand the way people think, and more importantly, why they choose to do what it is that they do. And I guess you could also say how to get them to do what it is that you want them to do. Now, you don't really... There's a lot of like persuasion and tips and strategies out there, but when you try to go the direct way about it, it generally doesn't really work very well unless you're in a situation where unless you're kind of like in that situation where it is working and it makes sense that it's working. I don't know, like it's like you already have money, or you are very highly socially skilled, you already have a lot of influence or something like that. For the most part, people need time to process decisions, and people love to make decisions based on their own thinking, based on their own ideas. If it's their own ideas, if it's their own reasoning for making a decision and making a choice, then that will be a lot more potent than trying to shove a kind of a reason down their throat. This is why most people hate salesmen very much, and it's because salesmen need to make sales to make a profit, so they're kind of trying to shove this kind of like persuasion strategies and tactics kind of down your throat, down your brain, so this way they can convert into a sale, the outcome. And then there are those guys who do know this, that this is not the right or the best way about this, So they're more kind of a little more cool, a little more chill out about it, because they know that if they're cool, then and they're respectful, that they'll make money, they'll get a sell. George Hutton just released something called Lazy Way Persuasion, and the information that I'm reading here is really good, very, very, very useful information. Talks about ego, instincts, and just simply why we are the way we are. A lot of the things that makes us who we are is simply, in fact, let me go back. The ego, right? What is ego? He defines it as ego is a collection of our instincts that are leftover instincts from our, I guess you could say, pre-existing days, from when we were cavemen and cave girls, and that trial and error process of evolution created these instincts, and these instincts are kind of left over. I guess you can say information or memories, or just the word is instinct, right? But to me, it's kind of like a memory, like a default memory. That's how I treat it as, but I don't think that's the way that most people would think of it as. So essentially, a lot of our decisions are naturally just based on those leftover instincts. The need for money, the need for sex, the need for power, the need for social status. A lot of these things already exist in our kind of DNA. What's interesting to me is that once I found out all these things are kind of like very common, it kind of killed the idea for me where it's like, okay, you know what? These things are no longer interesting to me anymore, now that I realize how common it is. Which is kind of funny, because that's kind of like what killed the whole idea for me of like, oh, I don't know, just that idea of like having power, or just being, being that super alpha guy, or just being that super cool guy, or just, I don't know, like just being like James Bond. All these things are very common desires, and most of these things are already kind of pre-programmed into us, and then later socially reinforced. And the reason why this is important is simply because a lot of our ways of being are because of these instincts. So our kind of natural choices and what we lean towards are based upon those things. And in order to make the best choices in our lives, we have to be on top of our ego, be on top of our instincts, even if it's just temporarily. Especially in the world of sales. Sales is a very tricky thing, because you have to kind of juggle very complicated mindsets and do it in the most genuine and natural way possible. Which, in that kind of realm, is it can be tough to do it. It takes a while to get that right sweet spot of mindset of being genuine, but also still trying to make the sale. So the important thing about understanding about how humans make decisions is that it's not any one thing, and people need time to process information. Ideally, they process information as if it's their own idea, in a way that they best can understand it as, because it's their brain, it's their mind, so the ideas that are coexisting inside their head already will make it easier for them to agree with. If it's if it's presented in a way that's it's best in a way that they can understand it, then they're more likely to agree with it. Marketers know this, politicians know this, and this is very, very important to know, just in sales or in marketing or I know, just influencing people in general. Another thing is, people love giving advice. People love giving their advice. People like to be helpful. People like to be contribute to help be helpful, essentially. I know I do. I like to be helpful. I like my advice to be something that impacts people, and that helps kind of change people's mindsets. However, there are times where I don't like advice. Depending if it's like random or whatever. I think I have a better time with this than the average person, but most people don't like to hear advice because what that entails is that you know less than the other person, and that the other person knows more than you on that said topic or situation, and that tends to feel very uncomfortable. I generally don't mind, because if it's giving me the right answer, then I'll suck it up and I'll say, you know what, this person does know more than me about this thing, and I'll just let them, just talk and give me the right answer. I usually don't have a problem with it. I personally have a problem with it when it's kind of random. When it's like a random, in that moment, I don't want that advice. I don't need that advice. There's certain moments where it's like, okay, I don't really want this right now. So I do know where that's coming from. And that's kind of the issue when we give these kind of advices, or we try to give advice to people, is that maybe the timing is off, or maybe it's not the right moment, or something of that nature, where it's like, I mean, I know I like to hear advice, I like to give advice, but there are times where, I don't want either, right? I don't want any of those things. It depends on my mood personally. I'm sure people are this way as well. It's depending on the circumstance. But generally people don't like to hear advice, but they like to give advice. Because giving advice means that you are knowledgeable, you can display your intelligence, and that's a way to kind of showcase your social status, to showcase your strengths and your positive qualities. So that is why people love to give advice. It highlights them in a very, very positive way. And in a lot of social situations, that's kind of what happens, is that people want to show their positive qualities. Which it's not a bad thing, right? That's nothing wrong with that personally. That's cool that they want to do that. It's just that there are times where it can get kind of icky, where it's like, okay, I know why you're doing that, and you're really just kind of trying to show off in a very like a nice, polite way, and it's kind of nasty. It's kind of like, ugh, it can be that way. I try to be cool about it, even despite the fact that I may pick up on these kind of signals or signs. It's important to understand that whenever we want someone else to make a decision of some kind, that the future benefit outweighs the cons. Basically, the pros outweigh the cons. In the Lazy Way ebook, he describes it in the 4-quadrant, where it's like the present state, the present positive, the present negative, the future positive, the future negative. To me, I kind of simplify it as, if the pro outweighs the cons, then you would be wanting to take action, or if the future benefit outweighs the cost, then you are more likely to take action. Because I forgot exactly how he described it, but I do get the gist of it, so I'm going to explain it that way. Essentially, it's kind of like a cost benefit. Does the cost outweigh the benefit? So in our day-to-day situations, we have to lessen the fear, lessen the workload, lessen the stress, lessen the effort required to take action, while also increasing the desire and the motivation to take action. So, I don't know, let's say to start a business, right? You're fearful because you don't have enough money or something. So you can either not do a business because you don't have money, or you can say, you know what, the potential benefits of maybe taking a loan would be enormous. Maybe I can make so much more money by taking a loan or something and then just starting this business. I know that wasn't the best example, but the simple point is that we take easy action when the benefits outweigh the risk, when the benefits outweigh the cost. If that does not happen, where there is a lot of hesitation, procrastination, and a lot of things in between that makes taking action more difficult than it needs to be. And that's essentially what it is that we have to convey the idea that inspires people to take action, while also ideally lowering the risk, lowering the fears, lowering the anxieties, and any kind of negative association behind it. So I guess you could say it's strengthening the positive while reducing the negatives of that kind of situation. And this is very important for influence people in general. You want to boost up the positives while reducing the negatives. So I guess I already gave an example with the business one. I'm just trying to think of another example that would make more sense. I don't know, like maybe a job or something, right? Where it's like you can get a part-time job, but then you have to give up your time for that. And if you don't want to give up your time, then it's not really worth having a part-time job. Something like that, right? So anyways, I hope you like this podcast. Once again, my website is currently down, so you can find me with the resources down below. I'm going to be providing you guys with links and resources that you can check out. These are resources that personally has helped me accelerate my mindset, and I know by shifting your mindset, you can easily do the things that you want to do. And I'm going to be providing you links with things that I found helpful and things that I feel like you guys would love. The idea here is that with lazy weight persuasion, we can, or you can rather, make much more money or have more influence, make more friends, easily attract more friends, and even improve your dating life. Because again, this is all relating to the field of influence, persuasion, and just understanding the way that humans interact with. So it's a lot of kind of categories such as ego, instance, conscious, subconscious, cost benefit, and a lot of other things that kind of pertain to what makes us humans human. It's just about life in general, honestly. Anyways, I hope you guys check out Lazy Weight Persuasion. It is one of George Hutton's latest work. It's a masterpiece. It's really good. I've been using it for almost a month now, and I really love it. Hope you guys check it out. Until next time.